Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, where I share writing tips from the pros and, of course, my own writerly musings. Today, I'm here with Morgan's 2021 retrospective. Of course, I have previous years. I've got 4 or 5 years, 2020, 19, 18, 17, etc. So the new normal has proven rather stressful and ever fluctuating, as you may have noticed. But despite the ups and downs, I did manage to make some progress with my writing this year. Let's start off with some good news. I am now a paid writer. I insert a lot of, applause and exclamation marks here. Christmas Eve itself, while dealing with an unrelated emergency that's nearly resolved, I got the email that one of my short stories has been accepted by the Dark Recesses online magazine. So this year I attended 2 in-person conventions, 1 virtual convention, polished 1, 2 short stories, rewrote / finished last year's NaNoWriMo project, and even wrote some poetry. Between Balticon, Worldcon, and Imaginarium, I was on 7 panels, participated in 2 readings, attended 8 panels, 3 workshops / presentations, 2 events, 1 additional reading, and won the smallest cosplay competition ever. I was first of 3. Not counting the Zoom hosting for a few cons and tech training for NaNoWriMo. Outside of cons, I attended 3 different writing groups, participated in the #AuthorTube community, and gave 2 presentations on using social media for writers. Plus, of course, I attended my local open mic for writers. This year, as compared to 2020, surprisingly not, my interaction was much better split between in-person and virtual events. Now, I love comparing numbers, so let's take a look. If it's not your jam, tune in next week. So, how did I do on my goals? My writing goals for 2021, as always, I try to set SMART goals. They are specific, measurable, achievable, results focused, and time bound. So, I think I had 8 goals. The first one was writing. I wanted to finish my space fantasy by April, maybe do OctoPoRiMo, and I planned on writing new words for NaNoWriMo. I'm giving myself like 70% credit here. The space fantasy turned into tax fraud and school field trips in March, and I just took a break. I did not do OctoPoRiMo, but I did write some poetry, and I did do all new words for NaNoWriMo, rewriting / finishing that space fantasy after salvaging about 30,000 words from the original attempt. My second goal for 2021 was revision. I wanted to revise 3 short stories. Partial credit, I revised 1 short story. I really thought it was more than that. Maybe I just didn't pull it out of the drafts. I don't know. I'll look later. Number 3 was querying and submitting. I wanted to submit 6 short stories, at least to 3 markets each quarter once they were polished, and query my YA book 3 times a month. Win! While I was only submitting 3 short stories, because that's how many I had polished, I did hit 15 submissions this year, nicely spaced, and 1 sold. And I did send out my YA 32 times to 0 nibbles. It was really frustrating. Before my last revision, i.e. before the post-apocalyptic landscape that is 2020 forward, I'd been getting partials and fulls and even an R&R of revise and resubmit. So to send out to so many times with no leads makes me think that I either already queried the best matches or the market is not in a place to acquire right now. My next goal 4 was blogging and podcasting, my social media stuff. My goals were to not miss a week with the blog vlog, as I have done for like the last 3, 4, 5, I don't know, many years, and to only take one season off or 1 week off between seasons for the podcast, and only skip up to one live stream per quarter unless I was at a convention. Win! I did not miss a week on the blog or blog because I would be devastated. I hate ending such a lovely streak. I did only take 1 week between podcast seasons, and I had 48 live streams, plus a bonus one during NaNoWriMo, and did 4 query rewrites live with Patrick Hopkins of the Query Hotline. So that went well. Number 5, my goals for convention/writer groups. I wanted to be on panels at least 3 conventions. I wanted to attend at least half of the open mic nights, so 6. 4+ monthly writer meetings, and 3 NaNoWriMo events. I wanted to hit the kickoff, one of the write-ins, and an all-nighter. Plus, of course, the staff Balticon and maybe another virtual convention. I'm giving myself partial credit, either 110 or 70, depends how you split it. I did panel at 3 conventions. I did attend 5, not 6 open mic nights, but I jumped on 2 readings at Worldcon, so I think I got that one. I attended 8 monthly writer meetings, I think, something like that, and only 2 NaNoWriMo events, because there were only 2, but I did a lot of virtual write-ins because COVID. I did staff Balticon, and I popped on to Zoom host at least 1, but I think 2 other virtual events, and I presented on how to establish a social media presence for 2 different writer groups. Number 6 of my goals for this year were this one was reading. I wanted to read at least 36 books, with half as physical. I both won this one tremendously and lost it. I binged a lot of romances this year, finally getting Kindle Unlimited. Some were novellas, although I tried to add those to Goodreads as a series, so it would be one item. But all in all, according to Goodreads, I read 184 books this year. Let's hear it for escapism with HEAs, happily ever afters. But on the lose hand, only like 8 of them were physical, and my to read bookcase just got 3 new bags from my mom. The joy of having a retired librarian as a mom. So my goal number 7 was related to beta reading or slush reading. I wanted to read no more than 3 fulls this year, get some beta readers for my own short stories, and keep up with the Oddville Press. Win! I only read 2 fulls and a couple shorts. I got readers for my stuff before I submitted them, and I did mostly keep up with slush for Oddville Press until unfortunately it folded. The labor of love versus life events just happened. So while it was a really helpful experience to learn how to slush read, it wasn't in my genre, and I am stretched a little thin. So while I'll miss it, there were some good stories that I got to read through that opportunity. I'm not too sad to have that time back. And as always, my 8th goal is to give myself a pass if I do Jack and in December. And what was that whole Vlogmas thing? I think I did 24 holiday themed videos, and Worldcon moved from August, thanks to Delta and a hotel that closed, to December. So I hit a writing conference and did Vlogmas in December. Plus, I had a lot of other stuff going on. So I'm giving myself extra credit and a pat on the back. Achievements outside of this list are I made a sale, in case I didn't mention, and I hit 10K followers on Twitter. So let's talk about my blog. So my blog is morganhazelwood.com, shockingly enough. because hashtag branding. My sleeper hit, 10 questions to ask your beta readers from 2016 is still tops with now over 3,285 lifetime hits. For you big bloggers, I know this is nothing, but for me, this is a huge number. My author spotlight interviews to help promote friends' works are sticking around, even if they're not my most popular posts. I am working with a few small presses to help them out, but it is open to anyone. Just email me at morgan.s.hazelwood@gmail. Just write author spotlight in the header. So let's see. My top 10 blog posts of 2021. While 9 out of my top 10 overall views this year were from old posts, let's talk about the 10 from this year. So first, getting an agent, querying in batches. Secondly, the 5 components of a query letter. Third, Worldcon 2021. Fourth, yes, that is a real word. Fifth, 7 ways writers handle rejection. Number 6, are you using the easy way to find markets for your short stories and poetry? 7, the 13 types of responses writers get when querying agents. 8, when an idea breaks your manuscript, 4 ways to fix it. 9, introducing Catechus, who is missing me right now. And number 10, character creation. So I will see Catechus in a few hours. And on my YouTube channel, here are my top 5 YouTube channels from 2021. Now, as my content grows, it is good to know that my older content is still being watched, but these are the top 5 from this year on writing. My top 2 from this year were a tribute to my late cat that my ex was taking care of and celebrating 500 blog posts. So top 5 YouTube videos on writing from 2021. Number 1, why I'm trying to get traditionally published. 2, yes, that is a real word. 3, getting an agent, querying in batches. 4, why that writing advice is both right and wrong. And number 5, 5 ways stronger verbs can improve your writing. As always, my vlog is my blog in video format, so if you'd rather watch or read, you can always check out on the other format. And many of my posts are also going up on the podcast because I'm everywhere you want to be. So let's talk about my social media stats because nobody cares. While this isn't really writer related, it's writing platform related. And I know I like to see how other people are doing, and I like stats and tracking progress. So probably this is more for me than you, but here are my numbers for 2021 for full visibility, transparency, all that stuff. I tried to be both engaged and engaging while still upping my content creation in all mediums. Some weeks were better than others. Honestly, some months were better than others. But let's go ahead and take a look. Between all of my social media platforms, I gained, how many followers was that? 3,000 and change, it's something like that. This year, my Twitter grew the most by number with a 33% growth. My tiny podcast, Writing Tips and Writerly Musings, wins by percentage though, followed closely by LinkedIn and with YouTube in close third. So let's go ahead and share that so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. And there you go. Followers old and new. So you see that podcast with 9, which is the smallest amount, but the largest percentage because the podcast is so new. Okay, so let's see. Now that I've got some nice follower numbers, it's probably time to work on engagement. So now let's talk about my content. Bum, bum, bum. There we go, content tab. So this year I maintained my streak of blogging twice a week and almost hit 3 times a week between a regular supply of author spotlights and my weekly roundups, almost weekly roundups of all the stuff I'm doing both on the blog and off. My podcast was growing. As a note, the Goodreads stats are just books I read this year. And my Facebook page is really hard to get stats off. But I surpassed my goal of posting to Instagram twice a week with an average of just over 3 times. I started posting twice a week to Pinterest, mostly automated images and stills from my blog and YouTube channels, and Tumblr content is just Instagram and blog reshares, and LinkedIn is just blog reshares, although at some point this year the cross-posting stopped, so I'm going to be looking into that. So my account breakdown. Let's talk WordPress because that's, I think, one of my stronger platforms. So I started this blog in April of 2025, and this was my best year yet. I surpassed last year's 10K like 3 months earlier. Obviously, consistent content and the addition of the weekly roundups bolstered the numbers. Just more posts means more views, but Google search results continue to grow as my #1 referrer rather than links from my own social media, which is where it started. And that SEO boost from larger sites like Pro Writing Aid and Kidlit 411 definitely helped my visibility. So over on Twitter, I have hit that magical useless 10K milestone, and now I need to really work on engagement. Currently, fewer than 20 people actually see or interact with any of my tweets unless I respond to like some big name person. So on YouTube, I joined in April of 2027, and I definitely stepped it up this year. Maybe we want to look at one more chart. What do you say? Let's look at one more chart. So over here, there's the YouTube, and you'll see I did almost 40% more, 40% of the views ever were from this year alone, over half my lifetime watch time, and my subscribers grew by almost 25%. So not sad with those numbers. I know that my live streams were a huge contributor towards that long watch time. Tumblr, I joined in June of 2016, and I'm not really using it, but people are still finding my stuff, which is awesome. Or maybe it's just spammers, I don't know. But hey, growth is good, right? As long as people aren't like attacking you, what nobody is. So I'll take it. On Instagram, I joined in 2015. I do try to attempt to be more intentional in my posts, making sure to vary the types of images and trying to use more stories and reels this year. I should use more quotes though. Pinterest, I joined in 2015. As I said, I'm sharing my video and my blog post, but not much else. I need to remember to share at least the cover of what I'm reading and more memes. And Facebook pages, writing about writing continues to reshare my alt text added reshared memes, which brings me massive readership for those posts. But I'm growing my own following with a little less of a piggyback following, unless you count resharing things from @paperfury/CG Drews on Twitter, which I do a lot of. On my actual Facebook page or Facebook profile, I joined in 2013, and Facebook keeps suggesting me to people, and as long as they don't look like they're using Facebook as a dating site and aren't 100% political rants or buy my stuff links and look vaguely interested in books, I'll accept. Google Plus is dead. Why is this even on my roundup? Goodreads, I read 186 books this year, beating my target of 3 books a month significantly. I think I beat 3 books a week. I rated nearly all of them, but I did not review any of them. So shame on me. Reddit, I joined in 2017, and I didn't do anything with it. I got, I think, 2 karma this year, and I don't know how, but I still exist. I'm still there, whatever. And Discord, I am Morgan Hazelwood, hashtag 1975. Why that year means nothing to me. But I am on like 7 convention Discords, 4 active writing groups, my voice acting group, a few for friends, and I'm not really tracking the social media use there, but I did want to acknowledge it because it is a large part of my virtual writer landscape. So, and of course, I use it for tons of writing sprints because it's got Sprintobot, which is pretty handy. Reach out if you want to know more. So in conclusion, I, as always, did not do as much as I hoped. Some of it was external. Most of us hoped that the turbulence was settling down when 2020 ended with the vaccine in sight. But with the surges and everything in flux, it made things actually harder for me to focus than 2020 did, and reportedly slowed down a lot of publishing. Obviously, there were consequences to my decisions. I am still running 3 pitch war support groups and administering another science fiction fantasy writer group. Plus, I stepped up as part of the hashtag AuthorTube community, and I'm helped out with some constellation AMAs, and all of that takes time and energy and spoons. I helped run 1 convention and helped staff another, I think 2. I paneled at 1 virtual and 2 hybrid cons and 2 AuthorTube events. I did my best to try to keep up with at least 5 types of social media because I don't understand limits. And I really like 9 hours of sleep a night, even if 7 is more common. Plus, I still have scheduled social time with friends on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and added my blog post writing and uploading Wednesday nights and con meetings. And I've been prioritizing keeping up with my self-imposed schedule over actual writing, just like last year and the year before. I'm still a little burnt out, but I have goals, and I've made a point of not trying to work every convention this year and leaving more time for myself. From March to November, I barely did any fiction writing whatsoever, although I did some beta reading and revision. However, I did get some writing done. I finished revising 1 short story, sent out a lot of submissions and my full manuscript, grew my blog and podcast, worked 1 convention, paneled at 3, staffed 1 other, and was on 7 panels outside of my own vlog, and read an average of 15 books a month. And there's that short story I sold. I may have fallen short on some things, but as I quote Les Brown every year, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again next week with more writing tips and writerly music. Bye-bye.